Уважаемые дамы,
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, I am very glad to greet you here in this wonderful hall of the Bolshoi Theatre to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Russia Today channel. Today, I congratulate from my whole heart all those who worked and continue to work on the channel, and of course, Margarita Simonyan, your leader, the one and only editor-in-chief. Dear Margarita, we all know, and your team definitely knows, how hard it is for you now, and what a turbulent period you and your family are going through. But in your work, you have always expressed courage, boldness, and I am confident that you will cope with it now too. I promise I will. Your friends, your colleagues have always stood by your side and shall stand by your side. Over the last 20 years, there have been many events in the media sphere. It is a whole era, and Russia Today channel has gone from an idea to a global brand, known today all over the world. I thank your active, creative, tightly knit team for your high level of professionalism and for staying true to your profession and your duty, for being courageous and determined in the defense of truth in the global information sphere. We remember, back in the beginning of the 2000s, the leading Western mass media were abusing their monopoly. And I would say almost always they disguised anything they wanted as objective news. They were trying to dominate the hearts and minds of millions of people by imposing new rules, or rather, basically, ideas and new civilizational space based on the wrong ideas. Up to this day, we are outraged by the fact that the terrorists who took hostages and organized deadly attacks and bombings in our cities, schools, hospitals were called by the well-known Western channels as rebels. They wanted the world to sympathize with these bastards and child killers. Back in the day, we found it hard to defend the truth in the information space and to defend a true picture of the events, since outside of the country we did not have a strong voice. I will emphasize that the sovereignty of Russia that we have been fighting for and continue to fight for and shall always fight for relies upon our ability to share with the people on the planet an objective picture and impartial information. That is why RT had to appear, which is exactly what happened 20 years ago. The company was facing a challenging task to build a work on a new level of quality, content and technology, and I am sincerely glad that we and you have succeeded, and succeeded at a great level. Millions of citizens of different countries believed you. Moreover, it turned out that there is a great demand for news which are different from the well-known propaganda, which is today, if I'm honest with you, not really different from the well-known cliché and propaganda of the Soviet era. Back in the Soviet times, this is how others continue to work, and that is why I believe that true professionals, including those from the United States, from Europe, from all the continents, were willing to cooperate with you, and not just cooperate, but work with you. And it wasn't about the money. It was, first of all, due to the fact that you gave these people an opportunity to share their position, to share it with millions of people. This is exactly why the hosts of RT included the legendary founder of WikiLeaks, Mr. Julian Assange, the world television star, Mr. Larry King, the president of Ecuador, Mr. Rafael Correa, and many others. You were quick to gain popularity and influence, and as a result, your competition started to basically envy you. Or sometimes, I think they were even scared of you. And this is a telltale sign of the fact that you're one step ahead, and you are the ones who set the information agenda, doing the right and important thing. And when you started working in full strength, this is exactly when these competitors and the ruling elites, or the so-called ruling elites backing them, revealed their true face. And Margarita talked about this now. And they have been regularly saying how there have been attempts to pressure you, to discriminate against you on foreign platforms. For years, they have been teaching us how we should live, how mass media should work, how democracy should be understood and what democracy is. What is the true freedom of speech? They were trying to convince us of the importance of competition, the pluralism of opinions. But look what happened to those teachers when RT appeared and hundreds of millions of people started watching the TV channel, offering a new interpretation of the events. The reaction of these elites that I mentioned was primitive and straightforward: to ban, to cancel, to block. You know, when I used to be the director of the Federal Security Service of Russia, back then, even in the FSB, there have been attempts to cancel this style of work. We were told that we should work more delicately, that we should try to convince others, that we should use different means of work, rather than those that had been used during the Soviet era and what had been called grab and never let go. But unfortunately, this is what we are currently witnessing against you and your channel. It is very easy to accuse someone of propaganda and misinformation or interference in the internal affairs. Although you never impose anything, you basically offered an alternative, truthful point of view, and thereby you defended the viewers' and listeners' right for a choice. But the mere presence of such a choice was seen by our partners as a threat. And over the years of RT work, we have been trying to establish such partner relations with the audience, and you have succeeded in that. Any monopoly, sooner or later, comes to an end, regardless of how much is being paid for attempts to preserve such monopolies by those who continue to sponsor them. Today, in a strengthening multipolar world, intolerance to any sovereign independent thought is not just a vestige, it's a great obstacle hindering the development of trust and understanding between the peoples that we all need. This is an obstacle, but just like any other obstacles, we will manage to overcome it. There is no other way. For 2 decades, thanks to RT as well, we hear an entire spectrum of voices from all across the earth, the people of Asia, Africa and Latin America. Thanks to you, can speak freely without seeking approval from the former colonial powers and authorities. It is important that RT channel provides its platform for journalists, scientists, experts from all over the world, and most importantly, people of different views, convictions, nationalities, regardless of bans, technical obstacles, continue watching RT, reading your social media. And even the representatives of the Western elites admit that the audience of Russia today is bigger than that of their own domestic TV channels. Only over the last year, the overall number of views of the channel's projects on social media reached almost 24 billion views. The overall audience of RT TV channels on the cable television platforms is almost 1 billion viewers. And this figure leaves us convinced that you will continue your successful work, and this is understandable. In Europe, in the United States, and in other countries, the citizens are aspiring to preserve their national culture, the memory of generations. They are countering the social inequality, the destruction of their family, and the attacks on the rights of the children. And this coincides with the Russian position on these matters, and it is thanks to RT that the world learned that our country firmly defends traditional values. We are a stronghold in the modern life and the modern world, which is full of conflicts and differences and challenges. We never discriminated or banned anything. And in the spheres that I mentioned as well, we are merely trying to protect our point of view, our opinion of the modern world and its future. And I'm sure that this similarity of opinions will help the people of different continents to believe in themselves, their strengths and opportunities. And we all appreciate the RT contribution to our common fight to establish a fair, just and sustainable multipolar world order, to preserve civilizational diversity, to stand united by these positive ideas, and more people and countries stand by them. I would like to emphasize that you continue your hard and tense work for the future of our people and the future of millions of people on the planet aspiring to true, genuine freedom. Dear friends, journalists, camera crews, colleagues from other media projects of RT are always in the epicenter, on the bleeding edge of the events, always on the front line, literally and figuratively. The courage and your aspiration to truth are the main features of the channel's workers and employees. We have seen this in Iraq and Syria and other hotspots of our planet, and even now in the zone of the special military operation. You continue these traditions, risking your lives. You share the stories of heroic deeds of the fighters and their commanders. There are many examples showing that the people working for RT are true to their job, to their country, and their beliefs. Even the foreigners working for us, the citizens of other states, which are numerous on the channel, defend their own views, and thereby they help their respective countries to promote such ideas for their domestic audiences. And they are acting in a truthful and open manner. Before coming here to the historical stage of the Bolshoi theater, I had a meeting and a talk with your colleagues working in the hostility zones and filming videos about and films about the heroes of the special military operation, and I would like to welcome them separately. Thank you. Here's what I would like to point out. Those who came from the zone of the special military operation, those who fought there, and those who work for the channel as journalists, they all looked as one family, because they all are courageous people, heroic people, who fight for their beliefs. This is the value of your work, dear friends. Dear friends, 20 years is an era of a great path for your channel and your wonderful team. The world is rapidly changing. Technology is transforming journalism. Social media sets new rhythms, and the audience increasingly watches news in a digital format, and you successfully cope with these challenges. You stay courageous, open and creative. RT has what matters the most: experience, a professional team and trust of the viewers. RT has a freedom-loving atmosphere and a lot of young people who bring the future, which is why you will have new victories ahead of you, there is no doubt. I wish you continue your development, finding new formats and new topics in a tense fight for the minds and the hearts of the people. And to succeed in this fight, you need to continue using your secret, strategic, highly precise intercontinental weapons. The truth. The voice of the truth, the voice of Russia, should be amplified. It should be confident and convincing. Happy anniversary.
Спасибо.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. So you can sit down now, and when Mr. President is leaving, then you can get back on your feet again. I would like to say a couple of words in response. You cannot stop them, Mr. President. Thank you. If I knew how to blush, I would have been as red as an apple. You mentioned Mr. Correa. He's here with us today, and our colleagues, our friends from every continent, from a great number of countries are here. They came here to congratulate us, including those, I believe their ancestors would be proud of them. For example, we have descendants of de Gaulle, of Bismarck, and we have MPs of European Parliament. I don't know what they will do to them when they go back to their countries, but they are here, and I would like to say thanks to all of them. Thank you very much. Mr. President, I would like to thank you because you said it right. We work based on our convictions. We defend our convictions. And it's a privilege not just to be someone who's sitting on a couch and saying something, but we can work, we can defend our convictions. We owe it to you. When you appointed me 20 years ago, I thought that the world has gone mad, and my main task was not to embarrass myself. And it was impossible to imagine that all of this will happen, and it will be turned into such a big, huge organization. And in your presence, I would like to bow down to all the guys who work with us. I mean, these are thousands of people who are risking their lives. Yesterday, our colleagues from Russia Сегодня died, and his colleague is in grave condition. Doctors are trying to save his life. Unfortunately, these are our everyday reality. When we study at the journalism school, we understand what we do, what expects us, but nevertheless, it's always a tragedy when this happens. And when they fight against us, as you marked, well, we tend to laugh at it because we are Russians, even though some of us are Armenians, and we grow stronger when this happens. So it encourages us even more. It makes us even bolder. And all these sanctions, all these bans on traveling, these attempts to stop us from communicating with someone, this means nothing in comparison with this honor, with this pride to serve our motherland. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I congratulate everyone.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.